my solution to that COVID project is to wash your hands. We got our sanitizer, our alcohol, and we're gonna get drenched wet.
COVID has harmed them. It's made them impotent. They're having all kinds of problems with their skin. They're having all kinds of problems with their breathing. They don't have any kind of a booklet, any kind of a pamphlet, anything. They didn't put out what this product will do when they inject it in your body. What's wrong with you? You're blue. I said, I'm losing air. I can't breathe. And I was gasping.
As a previous teacher of schools and being able to teach in the future is an option. But that was what I did for me because I wanted to do it as a courtesy for the people that I was working around in cast and crew. And I felt because I would be a hypocrite as a leader if I didn't. But I understand that people are dying in this country, and what the solution is and the alternate route for you is to wear this for you.
Right.
How do you react with people that aren't wearing their masks that may be vaccinated?
There's a lot of people that aren't vaccinated and are not wearing their masks. And my thought is there's a sign on Stewart's store in Northville, if you weren't vaccinated, wear your mask. I walked in and said to the girls, why are you wearing masks? Because we don't want the vaccination. They have a right as a United States citizen not to put something in their body that they don't want in their body. We were from Italian Catholic family, and in those days, birth control was condemned by the Catholic Church. So my mother and father abided by the Catholic Church. It wasn't their fault.
That's because we were taught if we weren't virgins when we got married, we would go to hell, Christina.
Well, I was a virgin when I got married. But we were very mature on how to cook, how to clean, and knowing that we were taught we had to get out there and work. The Constitution belongs in this country, excuse me. The Constitution belongs in this country. I am sick of listening of what they're doing to it. No, they're going against our Constitution. My opinion is anybody that goes against that Constitution is not an American. They don't belong in this country. I am sick and tired, and I'm saying these unprofessional words that the Constitution is going to be torn apart. It better not.
Thank you. And can you tell me a little bit about working in the Senate building in your day-to-day tasks and how you were hired?
Yes, I was like an administrative assistant to Marge Kaufman. She was a wonderful person to work for, and I was really thrilled to get that position. I had to go without my paycheck for Christmas.
What? And the culture was a little bit different back then. Did you ever feel in the Senate building ashamed of your gender or your rank?
No, never. In fact, that was the first time I got respect as a woman with some intellect without an education. I was really surprised. I didn't think that I would be acceptable, but I really got treated well. It's in any business you're in, there's always authority and power to control you as a woman. And the sad thing for women is that we're very beautiful sometimes, and sex is involved. And when employers feel that they can take advantage of you by using that, it's sad. I was very fortunate, which was nice, to see Matilda. I actually had to meet her down at the VFW in Schenectady on Erie Boulevard. So I got to do a lot of interesting things. Is news releases, and we couldn't make mistakes. That's another thing. We didn't make mistakes. we actually had 3 or 4 people go over his press releases because we wanted him to look proper.
Okay. And as you know, we all make mistakes. None of us are perfect. There's
Absolutely.
humanism. And would you say your culture was in the Senate building working as a team, or were you working independently at that time?
So that taught me to never say never. That taught me no matter who tries to put me down and say I can't, I will. That taught me the stronger you make yourself, men and women, the more you'll gain and you will like yourself in this lifetime. I don't let anything or anybody get in my way.
Yes. How do you like paying $5 almost a gallon for gas?
I came 70 miles to get to you, Miss Kimmy. And think about how many gallons of gas that was. And I have to go back. You cannot live on $15 an hour. I'm ashamed that the government is allowing all these billion-dollar corporations get away with that. $25 an hour they need. But then again, you have a bad situation. You start making $25 an hour, then your taxes go up. The payroll taxes are ridiculous.
And we could live, when you were paying your girls $10 an hour, we could live on $400 a week. And is it fair to say buy food and pay rent back then at that
Yes,
time?
I have
Yeah.
to say it was a much better time. Okay, here's my age again. I was 16 years old, 34 cents a gallon of gas. I bought my first car for $200. I thought that was a fortune. I drove to Maine with it with a bunch of girls. It was fun. We got to live. Bread was 17 cents a loaf. A quart of milk was 25 cents a loaf when I was 16.
That's amazing.
I know. Now I know. Now I look at the prices and I say, how could these poor parents, men and women that are single parents, how could they feed their children? How could they get gas to go to work? You can't. Come on, wake up, government.
In my world, yes, we have to sell merchandise and clothes and wear our faces on dolls because we have to make additional money. And so these are really, really good points. And when you were working and paying your girls in a restaurant $10 an hour, it's kind of the same thing. You had to pay for silverware and glasses and tablecloths before you even got started in your restaurant, correct?
Correct. Everybody was very cordial, friendly. People helped people. People worked together then. I mean, I wouldn't think of going to another office and helping someone. I worked on both sides of the party. We can talk about that sometime. But I feel that
Let's talk about that now.
Okay, that's fine. This is fun.
Today.
We will talk about it today.
I was a travel agent during 911. We don't know if we're going to have it tomorrow. So let's talk about your views. And we don't have to get political or be afraid.
No, I'm not afraid.
We can talk about that right now, about Republican versus Democrat.
I think he's making a lot of mistakes. I think if he doesn't hurry up and grasp his life, he's losing the people in this country. I believe that when the November elections come, I believe that that'll tell the truth. I'm not, if you notice, I am not saying Democrat or Republican.
We are not going to be on one side of the fence or the other. And we're saying that's for the best of
the American
people. Agreed?
Agreed.
And so constructive criticism is due because constructive criticism, in my opinion, would you agree, is going to empower and embetter the people in power at this time?
Miss Kim, American people and the government that's controlling the United States, wake up. We don't care what you guys are doing personally. We care about what you're going to do for this country. You're flubbing it up terribly.
And Miss Christina, my friend, and you have worked for so long with the same circles of people that I've known. I watched Chris Cuomo, and he knows this, play basketball at my school, and Mari and Matilda cheering on the family in the Cuomo administration. We'll get to that in a few minutes, but let's stay on topic.
Yes.
What would you, if there were 5 things or less on your hand, want to see implemented in Washington right now?
Do you think other countries are going to let the American people come over there and live and stand at their border and take care of them? This is getting a bit out of control. Secondly, if we give all our jobs to all the incoming people that are not citizens, what's happening to us? What are we going to do? What are you doing to the American people? You're crucifying them. You're making them slaves.
That brings up a really good point, and we could go on topic for this, and we should talk about this right now, about our perceptions and the executive decision to most recently bring 100 refugees to Albany and give them good homes. As much as we can nurture and love the people all around the world and help people together, what priority do you think Americans should have over your number 2, giving jobs to Americans and refugees? How should we rank this?
Yes. The American people are being cheated. If the American people have to go on social services and food stamps, whose fault is that? You think it's their fault? If you're giving the jobs away to people that are not citizens, how can the American people support themselves? God bless America. I want to help anybody, but this is a very absurd thing that we're doing to the American people. I'm not doing it. The government's doing it. What are we going to do? What can the American people do? They're getting poorer. We're bringing people, think about this. This is common sense. We're bringing people into this country, taking the American people's jobs, and then there's no jobs for the American people. Are we becoming that stupid in the government? I'm really confused about all this.
And that's the other thing too, as we were addressing human trafficking, we're really worried about the children that are being left at the border into the United States without any parents. They're just being carted into this country in America. So would you agree, number 3, we have to address the foster children that come into this country?
Half of those children, I don't believe are coming in with real parents. I believe half of those children were either kidnapped or stolen. I don't believe those parents are their parents. Look, I was raised very poor. We didn't have very much. Well, no, I'm not going to say poor. I'm going to say I was rich with love. We had food. We had a nice place to sleep. We didn't have money, but we all went out and earned it. But half of these children at the border, I don't believe they're the true parents.
Who's feeding these kids?
I don't understand that either. Where are they getting the food? Where are they getting the money to buy the food? Like I said before, where are the tents coming from? Where are the new sneakers coming from? I actually took a magnifying glass to see what kind of shoes, because I felt bad. And I said, those are new sneakers. They're new Reeboks. Where did they get them? I don't know. Is that what it's called now? What's your interpretation of humanism?
Which is, we have a different perspective in the government and we have a different perspective that Freud would tell us, and somehow they're colliding. Government versus Freud is colliding with perspectives. So we're taking away our Maslow hierarchy of needs, our food, clothing, shelter, and need for sex, to for whatever reason, whether it be quality control, communism and socialism.
Oh, I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Oh, yes.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but that's the whole thing in this country. Our government that's ruling this country is trying to control the American people. That's not what life is all about. You don't want to control them and you don't want to take their freedoms away, which you are definitely doing.
And much later, we'll get raw and uncensored with a cool family conversation.
1,000 stars in the sky.
Yeah.
1,000 stars in the sky, like the stars in your eyes. Like, but and the lion sleeps tonight. They're all coming back. So here's a perfect way of telling you that everything repeats itself.
I'm mentally ill, for example, around this arena, and I'm not really sure what being mentally ill has to do with actually going and working in a job with a graduate level degree. It's confusing to me. So I'm wondering what your thoughts are on reverse discrimination. I would think that would be one example.
I've learned one thing in this lifetime. When people say to another person they're mentally ill, usually you're the one that's mentally ill.
I'm a little bit Sicilian.
Michelli.
But you can't blame the Italians for the hot streak.
No, he's hot streak.
And then to my favorite part, and we're getting down and dirty now.
Okay.
This is my absolutely favorite topic in the world. And I'm going to start off with this question before we get into accountability and justice.
Okay.
Let's talk about Mario and Matilda Cuomo, and what do you think about what they taught us?